Ryan, welcome to Resilient Retail. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. Even if it took us, 4 or 5 tries to get our schedules lined up, we made it together. Before we jump into our conversation, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Quip?
Yeah, sure thing. And thanks so much for having me on. So I'm Shane. I lead growth and marketing at Quip. At Quip, we are a DTC oral care brand that has become not just DTC, but omnichannel. And so, we market, manufacture, and design oral care products and services and make them more simple, accessible, and enjoyable.
Amazing. Well, what I love about Quip is that you guys really were one of the really popular digitally native brands that then expanded into retail and started building this omni-channel presence, even, before a lot of other brands kind of jumped on that train. I want to dig into that story a little bit, but first, because I think like omni-channel as a term can be kind of shallow and cannot quite explain what it actually means. So I'm curious kind of how you and Quip define omni-channel.
For Quip, omnichannel is, how people discover the brand and how people shop the brand. We started very much from a perspective of thinking about the products and their design, not just as they relate to, the beautiful products that we know and love and that many people have seen on Instagram, but also in terms of how people actually interact with the products and thinking about their behaviors. So one of the biggest insights going into Quip was that there's a lot of great toothbrushes that exist on the market, but at the end of the day, a lot of us are still not using them correctly, right? We're not brushing twice a day, we're not brushing for 2 minutes, and we're not replacing the brush or brush head once every 3 months. On average, people replace their toothbrush or brush head once every 9 months. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of worn out and ineffective toothbrushes out there. And so when we think about omnichannel, ultimately both, us as an oral health company and our customers tend to opt for the convenience of shopping through Quip directly, getting that refill sent to you every 3 months, because it ultimately acts as like a nudge or a reminder to make that replacement. And so it really has that kind of like behavioral like health element as the core driver. But at the end of the day, that is really effective for that reason, but it's not necessarily effective for the person that drops their toothbrush or, it falls in the toilet or something and they need like a replacement now, like what do you do? In that sense, having a retailer close by, a Target, a Walmart, and being able to just grab a refill off the shelf is ideal. So it's really about kind of thinking about all of those different needs and ultimately designing an experience that works in all of them, but that ultimately drives towards that kind of ideal experience.
Yeah. And the other thing I think about with like oral care in general is, even from a personal stance, the only time I've ever bought a toothbrush is usually when I'm like in the grocery store and then I pass by it and I'm like, oh, right, I should probably get a new toothbrush. And so there is a whole subset of customers who shop in that way. So it seemed like from the beginning, you guys had the insight and the know-with-all to say, okay, if we're going to be selling this kind of product, we have to allow for discovery, not on our site, because that's not how people are kind of shopping for toothbrushes right now. Obviously, there's a sector of people who do go direct to Quip, but that first kind of discovery of it often probably happens in those retail partnerships, I would assume.
Yeah, it does. It's become a major driver of discovery for the brand. I think retailers have done a great job of, curation of brands and products. And there's been a lot of effort and great effort, I think, by retailers to make that shopping experience more of a discovery experience and kind of exciting in that sense. And, we've been fortunate to show up at our retail partners, like with great like end cap displays and other things that really kind of speak to, the core value props and, more detail about the brand in a way that really, allows people and enables people to kind of discover it on shelf and become really excited about it.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about kind of the cohesiveness of omnichannel. So creating a cohesive experience for a customer, even between different channels. And you kind of said this at the top, even the product acting in different channels and how to make those work together. Really, we're talking about kind of like the flow of that omni-channel experience. If I shop in store, how does the brand follow up online? If I bought in a wholesale retailer, like if I buy a Quip toothbrush in Target, how does that brand reconnect with me? Can you reconnect with me? And especially with Quip having so many large retail partnerships, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, to name a few, how are you thinking about, especially from the growth and marketing perspective, how do you think about omni-channel flows and user behavior between the different channels that you're running?
Oh man, we think about it a lot, and it's something that we work hard to make that experience as seamless as possible for customers. I think it's a challenging experience for kind of everyone involved, right? The brands, retailers, everyone's trying to, bring the best of the physical retail world and, the digital e-com world into one. For Quip, we, have created a lot of flows and instructions kind of within the packaging, and kind of borrowed from, some of the more legacy tactics of, kind of the mail-in rebates and things of that world, but updated. And we have an offer in a lot of our retail products or packaging that enables customers to get their first refill free, going to getquip.com, and kind of outlines the benefits of shopping Quip in that way. Our products have a lifetime warranty, with a refill plan on getquip.com. And so that's, a major, point of consideration for people. And then, the convenience and health aspect of having it show up automatically every 3 months.
Yeah.
And then the, pricing and reward dynamics as well. When those customers land on the site, we have a separate kind of flow and site dynamic that helps guide people, through that experience, to make that as kind of seamless as possible, and help to kind of populate a cart for them that takes into consideration the products that they've already purchased at retail, the colors, et cetera, so that we're able to kind of land them on a kit that or bundle that aligns with what they've already shopped at in retail.
It sounds to me so similar to even just the basics of like boutique retail, of knowing a customer who's been in your store 3 or 4 times, knowing their name, knowing what they've shopped for before, knowing kind of what questions they normally have when you come into the store. Like, that's the basic root of really good retail. And what's interesting is that you're starting to do this in a cross-channel way of, okay, we actually remember who you are even on another channel. So just to clarify for the listeners, like, say you buy a Quip toothbrush in Target, and on that packaging, there's some sort of, a deal or a QR code or something that will send you to the website to go then and look at the refill options you can get straight from the Quip website, which is obviously great for Quip. That's really the behavior you want out of the customers. Instead of just kind of saying, here, go to, getquip.com, sounds like you're actually sending them a very tailored experience based on where that first interaction is. Am I getting that right?
I would say that that's what we're working towards. I think there's still more kind of elements to piece together to make that kind of a fully one-to-one experience. But for now, we are still asking, the customer at that point, you're coming from retail, you've already purchased a Quip product. Like, we're acknowledging that. And we're just kind of asking at that point, are there other Quip products you've already purchased? Like, kind of what, since we're not able to kind of have full insight into the products they have purchased at retail, we're just asking them to elaborate on what they have already kind of started with, and then help to bring all of the refills and everything for those products and in the right colorways and everything into, one kind of bundle or kit, since there's quite a bit of variability there.
Yeah. My next question, which you actually just answered, that I'm just going to pull out like what I heard for the audience, which I was going to ask, how do you predict customer behavior across all these channels? And then the follow-up question was, can you even shape that behavior? Do you have to kind of follow the consumer? And it sounds like you guys are you're building towards that zone where, one day you'll have enough of these experiences you'll kind of know what flow exactly to put someone in based on where they're coming from and a better way to track and manage that. But right now you're doing the super important work that we talk about all the time of, you can't just like know that out of nowhere. You have to actually learn it from your customers. So still understanding those flows by asking the customer, have a dialogue with us. Tell us what you've already got. Where did you buy it? How can we help? What else can we give you from the website? And again, bringing that back to, it feels like coming back to the heart of traditional retail of not just like being creepy about knowing what somebody bought, but just having a very helpful dialogue about how to help them find success further with that product. And that feels kind of like a big key to omnichannel there, is not just trying to push the customer into a behavior, but kind of following them and leading them, but also learning from them at this stage.
That's something that we've always really valued. We have always been really proud of and excited by the fact that around 80% of our customers respond to our post-purchase survey. And that really helps us guide our product development and help to guide our marketing and advertising. And, on that kind of front end, it helps to make the experience more seamless and, put less kind of burden, on that customer to, navigate the e-commerce site where, they might not be e-commerce natives, right? I mean, in the past year, there's been so many people that, ultimately made their first or first major step, into e-commerce. And so, not trying to overwhelm with our site in terms of, all of the different ways to get started, but rather, give something a little bit more specific to, what they've already shopped. So yeah, I think getting that type of feedback and then using that feedback to inform your product development, your assortment, if you're maybe a more traditional retailer, your marketing and advertising, or event marketing, I think are all really, really useful ways to ultimately use that information and that trust with your customers in a way that makes the experience better for everybody.
Yeah, and it feels like, and we've talked about it so many times this season, all of this kind of omni-channel talk really does come down to relationships. And a lot of times we talk about that between brand and consumer and building a relationship over time and different touch points and different channels and all of that stuff. But the other side of it is that you're also having to build relationships with the retailers that you've partnered with. And this opens up an interesting line of questioning where, we talk about the discovery that often happens in, say, a Target or a Walmart, but then you're trying to get that consumer to shop more with Quip online, and that ultimately doesn't help Target. So how do you work to create a symbiotic relationship with your retail partners without kind of siloing customers and still being able to build those interactions between online and offline?
Yeah, another area where we've spent a lot of thought. I think Target has definitely done a lot of things extraordinarily well, and we definitely value the partnership we have with them. I think they've done a great job of helping of curating a lot of really great brands and helping us be in good company. I think on top of that, they sell popcorn in a lot of their stores, which I have to believe helps the oral care category as a whole. As people are kind of, get a kernel stuck in your tooth, you might be like, oh, maybe it is time for a new toothbrush or some floss.
Literally happened to me this weekend.
They're definitely doing a handful of things, very well that, we appreciate. On our end, the love of that kind of like experience and discovery at these retail partners of ours is very real, and we want to, support that as much as possible. So I think for us, one of the ways that we were able to have kind of a big unlock in that overall experience was, okay, we do know, or many people, let us know that they originally shopped Quip at Target or Walmart. And in August of last year, we launched a Quip smart toothbrush and app. And, this app gives you points for, brushing your teeth for 2 minutes twice a day. We're a very habit-focused company and about kind of encouraging those good oral care like habits or behaviors. And so we reward them with points, and you can get streaks, and it's this great experience. You should definitely check it out. But then with those points, we've created a bit of a rewards marketplace. And within that, we have gift cards for Target, more retailers to come. We have Quip, discounts on Quip products. We have free Quip refills, merchandise, things like that, Quip swag. Target gift cards are one of the more popular rewards on the platform.
Yeah.
And so it's this great way to kind of take this group of customers, that are simultaneously really happy with their experience with Quip and really happy, with their experience at Target, and finding a way to kind of bring that full circle and, complete that experience.
I love this so much. And I fed you the question to pull you into talking about this, because I have read so much about the program. And it's brilliant on so many different fronts. It's a retention play in and of itself, that if you're being rewarded to have success with the product, which in the case of oral care would be to be brushing your teeth the right way for the right amount of time, and you can track that and then reward it, you are, as a customer, then encouraged to continue to use it. And then as you do that, you're interacting with the brand more, and then you're getting more refills because you're actually using the toothbrush right. And then on the brand side, you have a lot more information on the customers, how they're using their toothbrush, when are they brushing their teeth, when is a good time to send a message, all of these little things that come in. And then finally wrapping it around with like a bow on top of, it's also a really great nod to your retail partnership with Target by saying, yes, they may buy the first thing at your store and then a lot more from our site. But as they buy more from our site, you're getting the benefit as well, because we know that these people like to shop at Target. And so we're going to give them a reward back to you. It feels like such an innovative and genius kind of idea, and I'm excited to continue to watch it grow. I've already seen like some of my friends posting like, oh, I got a Target gift card for brushing my teeth today. Like, that's fantastic. I feel like I need like a gold sticker for just getting out of bed in the morning. So I love it so much. I'm curious about, with all these different opportunities, from, going into more retail partnerships to doing subscriptions online to opening an app, developing a rewards program, especially when you start to enter omnichannel, which pretty much every physical retailer in the last year has had to become an omnichannel brand by opening up an online store, there becomes this immediate pull of, where do we prioritize growth? Like, which channel is the biggest opportunity? How do I take that opportunity before this one? Is going into another retailer a better opportunity than, building out a rewards program? Since you are, head of growth, you're thinking about all this. How do you even begin to pick and choose and prioritize opportunities across the business? Yeah,
there's a lot of opportunity out there. And so it is a constant struggle of prioritization and focus, for sure. Definitely try not to boil the ocean. And in order to do that, I think, it's a combination of a lot of that first party data and responses from our customers. What are they asking for? What do they want next? What's that kind of feedback we're getting from them, alongside kind of a balance of market trends, overall, awareness. I think for us, building a brand direct to consumer and e-com first, or kind of going around it the other way around, was really helpful, because we were able to experiment a lot, and we were able to react really quickly and change packaging and, put in different promotions and things like into our refill packages, and everything could change just so rapidly, and
Yeah.
it allowed us to experiment and get good feedback and really kind of hone the product and the service offering by the time that we did go into retail. And, it allowed us to launch into, retail with Target, nationwide, really confidently, have a really great launch that, really helped to grow the Quip business and grow the category. That's something we're really excited about and really proud of. In terms of what's next, it's also about being retrospective. Okay, like in that sense of experimentation, like what worked, and our launch at retail with Target worked. And so I would say the last year and a half or so, we've really worked to expand our presence at national retailers. Now Quip is in, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, Bed Bath, Kroger, Meijer, and many other, great retail partners. We're expanding the product portfolio. So in the last 2 years, we've launched refillable floss picks, refillable floss, refillable mouthwash, gum and gum dispensers, the Quip Smart Brush. And so we're trying to now, act really quickly on a lot of that feedback and distribution and these great partners that we have at retail to bring that kind of Quip experience into more of the oral care category, and then ultimately into oral care services. So that's a bit of what we're doing. In terms of prioritizing, it's difficult to even prioritize the answer to that question.
Yeah.
We take feedback, we take, answer to our questions, we take market research, what are the key kind of trends, and then, opportunity sizing, look at the amount of investment it would be might be required to make it Quip. We don't really take an off-the-shelf approach with any of our products or services. And so there's kind of an added consideration of, okay, but how long would it take to make that a Quip experience of that product or service? And then fourth, for us, health, ultimately, like what is the biggest health need? What's the biggest kind of unmet need? If we were only to look at one of those four things, we might be prioritizing something that, isn't the biggest health need, for example. And so that's another kind of factor for us as like an oral health company that is a big part in shaping what we focus on. Yeah,
I love all of the points you just made. I did have the experience of going to Quip's website today and being like, they have so many more products than I thought that they did. And just seeing the expansion to cover more of an ecosystem feels really exciting for you guys. And then, highlighting that feedback and how important that is. And then especially the speed at which you can experiment online, no matter what size you are, whether you're a solopreneur or you're a large conglomerate, the benefit of the direct-to-consumer channel, and we even heard this with like the conversation with Igloo this season, is that's where they do all their testing. That's the quick testing ground. It almost can become like an R&D ground because you can have that really quick response by customers. So if you're listening and you're a smaller company and you're wondering like, okay, how do I even think about these things? A good way to kind of prioritize the channels are, your retail store takes a long time to test things out. You need to put up a new sign for at least a week before you have anything like measurable, but you can put up a Facebook ad in a day, or you can send a single email in 20 minutes and get information back on how your customers are responding. So I think that is such a valuable piece of advice. Before we wrap up, I have to ask you this question because you threw out just the most bonkers, incredible stat earlier, which is that upwards of 80% of your customers respond to the customer feedback survey that they get after purchase. I know as a customer, I've received so many of these emails. Sometimes it's like not even the product hasn't even gotten to my doorstep, or it just got there and they send me the like, tell us about the product email. And most of them in my inbox just get deleted right away. And I know this is a pain point for a lot of companies. So do you have any tips on doing that post-purchase feedback survey well, or is it a Quip thing?
No, I think there's a few simple tips. I mean, you can always buy something from Quip and go through the experience and check it out. But beyond that, I think just generally speaking, explaining the benefit or what's going to happen next, right? Like you just completed something, you're looking for the next thing to do. I think a survey probably isn't what people have top of mind. And so kind of leading with like, okay, where are you going to end up after you complete the survey? I think is a really important piece of the psychology there.
Yeah, like why even do it? Give them a reason.
Yeah. And so we, once you complete the survey, like we send you to our referrals page where you can manage your referral code and earn free refills. And so there's kind of a clear like, oh, okay, like I'm going to do this really quick and then I'm going to learn more about that thing. The experience itself is short and sweet. You see the question, we lead with like, what toothbrush did you use last? So it's something that is really easy to respond to. There's 4 possible responses. So we're kind of starting with something that's quick and easy, and then a lot of the more analytical questions and questions that we experiment with tend to come after.
Yeah, I love that. That's such great advice too, and that like tell them why they're doing a survey and what they're going to get out of it and where it takes them, because no consumer is really thinking about, oh, how can I help this brand get to know me more? They want to know how it's going to help them. We are all selfish beings who want to know, what is this action going to help me with? So Shane, just to wrap up, last question that we ask every guest on this show, as we are called Resilient Retail. I'm curious, what does resilience mean to you? Resilience
for me, is experimenting, rolling with the expected and the unexpected. It's learning from and making the most of each experience or each response and figuring out what's next and then figuring out how to prioritize it.
Yeah. And we're all still working on that. I love it. And I love how your resilience definition aligns so well with even just the conversation we had on, the very tactical example of Quip tested a retail relationship with Target. Huge success, and now you're really going into that zone even more. So that is a fantastic wrap to a fantastic episode. Shane, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to watch you guys grow, and I'm excited to get rewarded for brushing my teeth, because I think I need that in my life.
It's a nice, daily gold star, I think, as you put it earlier. It's fun.